I say this all the time, is that I think talent acquisition is the most important function in any organization, because if you don't have people that are taking the time to carefully source talent, interview talent, understand talent, the rest of your organization will fall flat, because people are what make any business run.
So today I'm here with Robin Solow. She does talent acquisition and development with Bulgari. So we're gonna go over three main things today. First is what she does in her career. Then we're gonna go over the path she took to get where she is today. And then third, we're gonna go over a piece of advice she has for a young adult who aspires to be in a career like hers. So let's get right into it. What do you do in your job?
So my job at Bulgari is, I have several functions there. The main function is talent acquisition, which is recruitment for all talent in our corporate office and our retail office. I'm also responsible for professional development, learning and development, annual review process, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and new hire onboarding.
So tell me a little bit about the history of Bulgari.
So Bulgari was founded in the late 1800s. It's a Roman-based brand. They are a luxury jeweler, which are part of the LVMH group. LVMH is Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy. They are the largest luxury retail organization in the world, with several brands under their umbrella, including Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy, Tiffany, Dior, Fendi, and several other luxury brands.
Yeah, so what's a typical day like at your job?
Every day is different, and that's true of any job where you're dealing with people on the daily. And I also manage a team of people, so part of my day is making sure that my team are doing what they need to be doing, and the rest of the day it could be different depending on what is happening in the life cycle of an employee at that point in time. So part of the time I'm recruiting, and part of the time I'm building out development plans. And in the spring every year, I'm responsible for a major presentation that we do that covers all of the talent development that happened for the year. And I present that every spring to our headquarters in Rome, and then also to the LVMH North America team.
Yeah, so what's your favorite part about your job?
I think what I love the most about my job is, number one, being able to help people. And number two, the fact that I have so many different functions. So every day is different, and I'm able to do so many different things. So it never feels super monotonous. And I'm able to shift gears several times throughout the course of any day.
Yeah, so can you walk me through that recruitment process?
Yeah, so for me personally at this point in my career, I'm only personally responsible for executive level recruitment. The team that report to me do more of the recruitment of our retail field staff and our general population. For me, executive recruitment is really, it's a long game. So it's a lot of networking, it's a lot of understanding who the strong talent are out in the marketplace that are not already a part of our company, so that when we do have an opening, I already know who I want to reach out to see if they're interested in joining us. So it's a lot of networking, and it's a lot of just conversations with people out in the field.
So you mentioned networking. So what are some of the main strategies that you're using in order to retain top talent, especially in like a fast-paced luxury environment?
So for me, I get to know who the talent are mostly through various searches that I'll conduct on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is my biggest tool for understanding who the talent is out in the marketplace. I also will, I've been doing this for a long time, so I have a large network of people too, and I'll reach out to people that I know, who do you know, that might be interested or strong at whatever the function is that I'm recruiting for at that point in time. And then in terms of how do I engage them or how do I retain them, it's really, it could be a multitude of things. It's inviting them to, if we have a store event or if we have a speaker coming in. It can be just sometimes when we have friends and family sales, letting them know that that's coming. But it's really just making sure that you have various touch points throughout the year, and just to keep them engaged and aware. Because especially with executive recruitment, there's not always going to be a job available. So the most important thing is to make sure that you are keeping in contact with them on a regular basis.
Yeah, so what specific skills are you looking for in new hires?
So for entry level talent that we recruit for, I would say the most important thing that I look for is potential, right? And I say very often, and I think that this is a good tip for anybody starting their career, is for me personally, when I interview entry level talent, I'm much more excited about interviewing somebody who has a strong GPA but has been involved in campus and has some life experiences or internships or something that they bring to the table, because for me, that shows ambition, that shows that you have a point of view, perspective. I'd much rather bring somebody like that into our organization than somebody who has a 4.0 and has only been in the library studying for their whole entire college career.
Yeah, so when you're looking for new hires, is there a specific schooling level that is necessary for that job?
It depends on the job. Most of the jobs that we recruit for will require a bachelor's. Rarely do we require a master's in our field or any specific technical certificate.
All right, so when did you know this is the career that you wanted to go into?
So human resources for me is really a second career. My first career, I started out doing higher education administration. So I worked in colleges and universities with students on their development in student activities and residence life. And I realized very quickly that that was not going to be the long-term career for me. And I thought long and hard about what was it or what skills did I have from that career that I could transition into another career. And I always wanted to work with people, and I always wanted to work with developing people, whether it be students or professional people. So it was just an easy transition for me.
So what do you think is the best path for someone to take going into a job like yours?
I think for human resources, it can be any path. So you don't have to have a certain degree. You don't have to have a certain major when you're in college. I think the most important thing is that you have the knack for understanding people. You have to be really compassionate, and you have to be very patient, because people are my product, and people don't always respond in the way that a watch would or a piece of jewelry would, and you never know what you're going to get from a person in terms of what's going to be their response or their emotion, and very often it's the opposite of what you think it's going to be.
So what role do you think talent acquisition plays in the overall structure of the business?
I say this all the time, is that I think talent acquisition is the most important function in any organization, because if you don't have people that are taking the time to carefully source talent, interview talent, understand talent, the rest of your organization will fall flat, because people are what make any business run.
So do you have a lot of people working alongside you? How many people would that be? And who are you working for? A single store? Is it the entire company?
So I'm responsible for Bulgari North America. So it's all US and Canadian stores and the corporate offices. And I have some responsibility to our Latin American teams, just in terms of their learning and development. My team itself, the whole HR team, is approximately 9 people. My talent team is me and 2 other people. So it's a lot of work to get done with a very small amount of people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the average yearly earning potential for a job like yours?
So it really depends on, I would say that the entry salary for HR or talent acquisition is probably somewhere in the $60,000 range. And you can go it's not the type of job where you're going to be very rich, because it is a people-facing job, but it can be lucrative, and you can go up into the 6 figures plus. As a VP, probably you could make close to $300,000 or more a year, depending on the organization that you work for.
And you work under a big umbrella company.
Yeah.
are you able to like switch to a different maybe designer store under that same umbrella? Like,
Yep.
would that be bad, or is it easier in the position that you're in?
I think that's actually, it's a great question. Mobility is what they call it at LVMH, is one of the biggest selling points for people coming into any of the Maisons within LVMH, because there are only so many layers in an organization, but what we can sell for people is that you'll grow to a certain point at Bulgari or Fendi or any of the other brands that you might join, but the opportunity to move within the global organization from Maison to Maison is very strong and encouraged, and there's a whole process around it to help support people so that they have a continuous growth plan.
So the fashion industry is always trending and it's always changing. What specifically does Bulgari use to stay ahead of those trends?
So I think for Bulgari in particular, we're more than a 200-year-old brand, and heritage is really important. So we're not going to be the most innovative. We are not going to be the most technological, but I think that we're always looking at what's next for us. And one of the things that Bulgari's done recently is they've actually created the thinnest watch ever made. And it's beautiful, and it's the kind of watch that a watch collector would definitely want to have in their collection. But a lot of what we do is based on what we've done in the longstanding history and heritage of the brand. And I think that that's really true for any heritage brand, is you want to stay true to who you are. You don't want to become something different.
So take me back all the way to high school. What was the path that you took to get to your career?
So when I went into college after high school, I really had very little idea of what I wanted to do or even who I was at that point in time. And college, for me, was a really pivotal time in understanding what my interests were and what I was excited about, and who I was. And I think part of that had to do with getting really involved when I was in college as a student leader, and being involved in student government and sorority life and all of the things that helped me recognize my own potential outside of the classroom. And I think that that's why now, when I look for talent, I really recognize the importance of what you've done outside of the classroom in terms of your own long-term potential.
So where did you go to college?
I went to Fairleigh Dickinson University, which is a small college in New Jersey. And after that, I went to NYU for my master's, and I got my master's in higher ed administration, which is something that, it's the study of student development, which is something that I've carried into my career beyond students and into professionals.
So when you're looking at new hires, are you looking at someone like, if they went to a more prestigious college, say, would you be like, have your eye more on them, or it doesn't really matter, just like kind of the degree?
It really depends on how technical the role is, but for the most part, I just want to know that somebody has a degree and that they did well and they had a successful college career.
All right. So finally, what's some advice that you would give to a young adult like me who's looking to go into a career like yours?
Yeah, I give advice to people your age often, and I say all the time, be open, have a point of view, have a perspective, have an understanding of the direction that you want to go, but you don't know what you don't know. So if you're offered an internship and you think that you want to do marketing and the internship is in merchandising, do the merchandising internship and get to know what that's all about, because all of that learning and all of that education just builds you a stronger foundation, so that because in an organization like Bulgari or any fashion or retail company, all of those functions support each other. So even if it's not the internship in the function that you really want to do, it's going to help with your learning and development. And best case scenario, you get interested in something that you didn't know that you'd be interested in. Worst case scenario, you've learned about something that you don't want to do, but you understand how it connects to what you do want to do.
Yeah, so I have like a bunch of internship programs in my high school, like before college. Do you think that would be something that's beneficial to do in high school, even before college?
I think any learning that you can do is beneficial. I think when I look at talent or bringing talent into an organization, I don't look all the way back to high school, but I think that it's all a stepping stone to where you want to go. And any knowledge and any skills that you can learn and develop are going to help make you a stronger employee in general.
All right, thank you for coming out today and doing this interview for Career Road. I hope to provide career advice to young adults across the whole nation by watching this interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.